The mailbox flag goes up, a small red signal against a quiet suburban street. Martha doesn't think twice. She's mailed checks this way for 40 years. It's safe. It's familiar. It's home. But as she walks back inside, a car slows in front of her house. Not enough to draw attention, just enough to watch. Minutes later, the mailbox is empty. And somewhere across town, a thief dips her check into a chemical bath, watching the ink dissolve like it was never there. He rewrites the amount, he changes the name. He cashes it before the sun sets. By the time Martha realizes something is wrong, the money is gone. Today, we follow the story of a senior citizen whose trust in a simple mailbox was turned against her, and the criminals who turned a $68 bill into a $4,800 payday. This is Fraud in a Moment, and the truth starts now. The vanishing check. Martha had always trusted the rhythm of her routines. Every Friday morning she sat at her kitchen table, sunlight warming the floral tablecloth, and she wrote out her bills by hand. A check for the electric company, a check for the gardener, a check for her prescription plan. She sealed each envelope carefully, placed a stamp in the corner, and walked them out to the mailbox at the end of the driveway. It was a ritual she'd followed for decades. But this Friday, someone else was watching. A car rolled slowly past her house, not unusual, except it passed again and again. By the time Martha closed her front door, the thief had already made his move. He opened her mailbox, plucked out the envelopes, and drove off without a trace. Days later, Martha received a phone call from her bank. "Ma'am, did you authorize a check for $4,800? Her heart dropped. The check she'd written for $68, the one she'd mailed just days earlier, had been cashed for nearly $5,000. The payee's name was different. The handwriting wasn't hers. The ink looked wrong. The bank investigator explained what had happened. Her check had been washed, soaked in chemicals to erase the ink, rewritten with a new name and a new amount, then cashed before anyone noticed. Martha felt sick. Her trust in her mailbox, in her neighborhood, in the simple act of mailing a bill had been violated. And she wasn't alone. Postal inspectors recover over $1 billion in counterfeit checks and money orders every year. Check washing thieves are getting bolder, faster, and harder to catch. But Martha wasn't powerless. She reported the fraud. She switched to safer payment methods, and she learned the habits that would keep her one step ahead of the next thief. Her story became a warning, a reminder that even the most ordinary routines can be exploited by criminals who know exactly where to look. What did we learn from this story? 1. Mailboxes are a prime target for thieves. Criminals steal outgoing mail to capture checks before they reach their destination. 2. Check washing is fast, simple, and hard to detect. Thieves use chemical solvents to erase ink and rewrite checks for large amounts. 3. Fake checks can be printed using scanners and copiers. 4. Timing matters. Never leave mail overnight. And 5. Safer payment methods reduce risk. Using online payments or secure drop-off locations dramatically lowers exposure to check washing scams. And that's where we leave Martha, standing at her kitchen counter staring at a bank statement that doesn't make sense, trying to understand how a check she wrote in good faith became a thief's jackpot. Her routine wasn't reckless. Her trust wasn't naive. Her mistake was simply believing that the world still worked the way it used to. But Martha did something powerful. She learned. She adapted. She refused to let criminals rewrite the story of her independence. Remember that checks can be stolen, ink can be washed, amounts can be changed, but awareness, that's something no thief can erase. This has been Fraud in a Moment, where we expose the schemes hiding in plain sight and give you the tools to protect what's yours. Until next time, stay alert, stay steady, and remember, your mailbox is not a safe. and it may not always be your failsafe.